He left her for a younger woman, then his new bride called her mom. The church was silent, the kind of silence that made even air feel heavy. Everyone waited as the bride walked down the aisle, her white gown gliding like a whisper across the marble floor. The groom, Daniel Brooks, stood tall at the altar. Handsome, confident, proud. But there was something else behind his smile. Something rehearsed. As the priest spoke, Daniel's eyes searched the crowd, until they froze. Because sitting quietly in the second row, dressed in deep blue, was his ex-wife, Claire. The woman he'd left 2 years ago for someone younger, livelier, and less complicated. The priest smiled. And now, the vows. The young bride turned to Daniel, her voice trembling. I, Emily, take you. But before she could finish, her eyes caught Claire's. The girl's expression changed. Her lips trembled, then parted into a single word. Mom? A collective gasp filled the room. The priest froze. Daniel's hand dropped. And Claire, she didn't move. She just looked at the girl she hadn't seen in 5 years. The same girl Daniel swore had gone abroad for school. The same girl she believed had been kept away for her own good. You said her mother was dead, the bride whispered, backing away. Daniel's perfect day, shattered in an instant. He left her for a younger woman, then his new bride called her mom. Before we dive into what really happened that day, make sure you subscribe. These stories, they're not just stories. They're lessons in karma, heartbreak, and truth. Now, let's go back to where it all began. The sound of rain against glass was the only thing breaking the silence that night. Claire sat on the living room couch, barefoot, her phone clutched in one hand. The clock read 11:47 p.m. He was late again. For weeks, Daniel had been distant. The late meetings, the perfume on his shirts, the way he'd smile at his phone like it was something sacred. She'd seen the signs before, women always do. But still, she wanted to believe he'd come home. That maybe love was enough to make him stay. When the door finally opened, Daniel didn't even look at her. He tossed his keys, loosened his tie, and muttered, "You're still up?" Claire's voice cracked softly. "Daniel, we need to talk." He sighed, exhausted, or pretending to be. "Not tonight, Claire, please." "Then when?" she said, standing now, holding herself together with sheer will. "When you finally decide which one of us you want?" Daniel froze. The mask slipped. A cold silence filled the room. "So you know," he said finally, his tone flat. "Then you also know. I'm done pretending." Her chest tightened. "After everything? The business I helped you start? The home we built?" "You built a prison, Claire," he said. "You wanted a family, I wanted freedom. We're not the same anymore." Then he added, almost carelessly, "I'm seeing someone else. She makes me feel alive." "Alive?" she whispered. "You mean younger?" He didn't deny it. He just looked at her, like she was a burden he couldn't wait to drop. And then, he left. Just like that. Claire didn't scream. She didn't beg. She just sat back down, the rain outside matching the tears she refused to shed. Because somewhere deep down, she already knew. But what she didn't know was that Daniel's someone else wasn't just another woman. It was a lie big enough to destroy everything. Days blurred into weeks. The house that once echoed with laughter now sat in still silence, a museum of memories Claire couldn't escape. The framed wedding photo on the wall became her enemy. She stopped turning on the lights in that room altogether. But grief, as cruel as it is, eventually burns itself out. What's left behind is something stronger. One morning, she stood in front of the mirror, pale skin, tired eyes, and a woman she barely recognized. She whispered to her reflection, "You either drown here, or you rise." That was the day Claire started to rise. She packed Daniel's things into boxes, every shirt, every photograph, every trace of him. No tears this time, just silence. Each item that hit the box sounded like closure. Her friend, Maya, had been calling for days. "Claire, you can't stay locked in there forever," Maya said gently when Claire finally picked up. "You helped him build his company. Half of it should be yours." Claire laughed softly, a bitter edge to her voice. "He made sure my name was nowhere on those papers." "Then make a new name," Maya replied. "Yours." That hit her hard, because Maya was right. Daniel had taken her confidence, her pride, and her future, but he hadn't taken her potential. That night, Claire opened her laptop for the first time in months. She began sketching business ideas, looking for jobs, anything to keep moving. It wasn't about revenge yet. Not yet. It was about reclaiming control. As the days passed, she changed everything. Her hair, her wardrobe, even the way she spoke to people. She stopped apologizing for existing. And when she caught her reflection one morning, she didn't look broken anymore. She looked dangerous, the kind of woman you regret losing. But just when she thought Daniel was gone for good, life decided to test her strength. Months passed. Claire had rebuilt herself from the ground up, new job, new apartment, and for the first time in years, peace. She didn't check Daniel's social media anymore. Didn't care what his new wife, Sophie, was posting. She was too busy living again. Until one rainy Thursday evening, her phone buzzed. An unknown number. A voice she hadn't heard in almost a year. "Claire. It's me. Please don't hang up." She froze. Even through the line, Daniel's voice still carried that familiar arrogance, now cracked with something new. Desperation. "Daniel, what do you want?" He sighed. "I need to see you. Please, it's important." The last time he'd said those words, it ended with betrayal. Still, curiosity, or maybe closure, made her agree. They met at a small cafe downtown. Daniel walked in, but this wasn't the man who left her for someone better. He looked older, tired, edges dulled by regret. "You look good," he said awkwardly. "You don't," she replied flatly. He gave a humorless laugh. Then came the story. Sophie, the younger woman, had drained his savings, crashed his company car, and left him for his business partner. The irony was so sharp, even Claire had to bite back a smirk. "So, what do you want from me, Daniel? Sympathy?" "No," he said quietly. "A second chance." That made her laugh. A real, bitter laugh that turned heads in the cafe. "You left me when I needed you most. You replaced me like I was a broken appliance. Now your world collapses and suddenly I'm worth a call?" He lowered his head. "I made a mistake." "No," she said, standing. "You made choices. And now you're living with them." Claire walked away, not out of anger, but with the quiet grace of someone who's done healing. Daniel watched her leave, realizing too late that the woman he abandoned had become stronger than he ever imagined. But what he didn't know was that Claire's success had only just begun. The company he lost? She'd just been hired as its new consultant. And her first assignment was him. A month later, Daniel walked into the boardroom, late, flustered, and holding a broken briefcase. The company he once owned was now under new management, and sitting at the head of the table, reviewing documents with quiet precision, was Claire. He froze mid-step. For a second, the room seemed to blur. "Claire?" he stammered. "Good morning, Mr. Collins," she said without looking up. "You're late." The executives glanced between them, sensing the tension but saying nothing. She continued. "You'll be working with me temporarily as part of your restructuring contract. I hope that won't be uncomfortable." Daniel swallowed hard. Every trace of control, every ounce of arrogance, gone. He nodded silently, his voice barely a whisper. "No, not at all." What Daniel didn't know was that Claire had turned her heartbreak into brilliance. She'd taken online courses, networked, and built a reputation as one of the most strategic consultants in the firm. And now, fate had done what she never planned, put her exactly where she could watch his downfall unfold. Mantelpiece clock emoji, the setup. In meetings, she remained professional. But behind the scenes, Claire documented every irregularity he tried to hide. Fake invoices, personal expenses marked as business costs. She didn't sabotage him, she simply let the truth reveal itself. Each time he tried to charm her like before, she met him with polite indifference. It was torture, not through revenge, but through her success. He couldn't bear it. Then came the audit. Claire presented her findings calmly, every detail airtight. The CEO looked at Daniel. "We'll have to let you go. Effective immediately." Daniel's face went pale. He looked at Claire, eyes pleading. You did this?" She smiled softly. "No, Daniel. You did. I just stopped protecting you." He left the office humiliated. The man who once walked away from her now walked out in disgrace. Weeks later, Claire visited the same cafe. This time, she wasn't waiting for anyone. She opened her laptop, looked out at the city, and smiled. She didn't need closure anymore, because she'd already won. And as she sipped her coffee, her phone buzzed with a message from a new client. Another big account. Another beginning. "Hi Claire. We've heard great things about your work. We'd love to bring you in for a senior partnership role." She closed the message with a satisfied smile. "Some endings," she whispered, "are just disguised beginnings." If you enjoyed watching karma serve cold justice, make sure to subscribe, because the next story will blow your mind. Remember, sometimes walking away is the loudest revenge.